wants to allow aircraft to move if there's any danger due to icing on the runways or on the taxiways, if there's any danger at all to passengers, crew or equipment.
But other countries who have much more severe winters than we ever have seem to cope. Maria Eagle, the Shadow Transport Minister, has accused you of complacency this weekend, saying that there was a winter resilience report on your desk in the summer and she feels that it's pretty much ignored.
Well, she's completely wrong, and Alan Johnson repeated that this morning, but we know he's someone who doesn't usually do his homework. David Kwambi's report was published in October. It made 19 recommendations. We accepted all 19 of them. Some were directed at local authorities, some at the Highways Agency, some at rail and airport operators. Everybody's taken those pieces of advice on board, but the weather conditions that we are experiencing at the moment are very extreme. And yes, of course, in Russia, in Scandinavia, they're used to these conditions and they have far more investment in equipment to deal with them. Now, we could do that too. We could spend hundreds of millions or billions of pounds on additional winter resilience equipment. But if we spend it on that, we won't be able to spend it on something else. And that's a decision that we as a society have to make. And I've asked the government's chief scientist to give us a report on future weather planning assumptions, whether we should simply assume for future winters that we are going to experience multiple bouts of extreme weather. And if his answer is yes, that should be our assumption, then we will have to sit down collectively and decide how to prioritise our investment in the transport infrastructure to focus it on winter resilience.
The chaos continues at many of Britain's major airports. After the snow comes the ice. Heathrow's still closed to incoming flights with planes frozen on the tarmac. As hundreds are forced to bed down in airports, there's mounting anger from passengers.
So many people that all the queues were merging into one. People getting so short-tempered because nobody was directing people to the right area.
People becoming more and more frustrated. There was no food.
Don't bank on a big bonus. The business secretary threatens extra taxation if the city doesn't curb payouts.
Green pitches, edged, gone.
And outpaced in Perth, Australia's fast bowlers see off England to level the Ashes series. Good evening. Thousands of people have spent another day going nowhere as snow and ice continue to affect many parts of Britain. Passengers at Heathrow and Gatwick faced severe disruption with a knock-on effect at other British airports too. At Heathrow, hundreds spent the night in the departure lounges. Only a handful of flights took off today and all arrivals have been cancelled. Let's go live now to Ben Ando at Heathrow. Ben.
Yes, indeed, for many passengers, another day of uncertainty, confusion, discomfort and delay as icy cold temperatures literally locked planes in position, freezing them on the tarmac and turning Christmas 2010 into a winter's tale of cancelled flights and travel plans in disarray. Yesterday trapped by snow, now frozen in by ice. Despite repeated coatings of de-icer, these planes at Heathrow were unable to move, unable to fly and unable to clear their stands for incoming jets, so all arrivals were cancelled. A handful did get airborne, this Qantas Super Jumbo one of them. But in Heathrow's terminals and surrounding hotels, the stories were all different, yet all the same. Confusion, frustration, fatigue.
And people becoming more and more frustrated. There was no food. There were a couple of vouchers handed out, but not really enough for 12 hours.
There wasn't the staff to control the crowds, so basically you had queues for this, queues for Lufthansa, queues for Aer Lingus. So many people that all the queues were merging into one. People getting so short-tempered because nobody was directing people to the right area.
Those in hotels might feel lucky. For many, the night was spent on a terminal floor with just a foil blanket for warmth. And getting on board a plane wasn't always wise. One sat on the tarmac at Birmingham Airport for